A small-town girl with big dreams. Her secret life in Sin City. Shocking revelations in the disappearance of Jessica Foster. Number 12 on our list. Jessie Foster grew up far from the bright lights and dark temptations of Las Vegas. Jessie lived in the rustic town of Kamloops, British Columbia. She was the second of 4 girls.
Basically, she was always the favorite to everybody, you know, because of the fact that she was always so open and fun and funny.
But Jessie seemed restless. After graduating high school in 2002, she moved to Calgary.
She went to high-end clubs. She loved, like, the hip-hop culture.
A month later, Jessie was off to Atlantic City. Before long, her mother received a disturbing phone call. Jessie and her boyfriend were bickering.
She had a huge disagreement. She had told us that he had spent all of his money gambling and had this suggestion that maybe she would want a prostitute and get some money for them so they could get home. And she said, well, I'm not afraid of him, Mom. He's just being an ass. I can't believe you'd do that.
Jessie's next call was even more shocking. She wasn't coming home. She'd moved on to Las Vegas.
Then she said, Mom, my 21st birthday's in 2 weeks, and I want to stay here and celebrate my birthday in Las Vegas.
It became clear Jessie was in no rush to leave Vegas. She'd split with her old boyfriend and was making plans to settle down with a new man named Peter.
So she's going to be moving in with him. He's got a beautiful big house.
In December 2005, Jessica went home to Kamloops for a visit. She spoke to Peter frequently on the phone.
The fighting and the screaming was just always. They didn't have a civil conversation.
Jessica's mother hoped her daughter would decide to stay in Canada.
I would ask her, why are you in a relationship like this? You fight all the time. You're down there. You have nobody down there. None of us. None of your family or friends. You don't have a work visa. You don't have anything to allow you to stay down in the States for any length of time.
Still, on Christmas Day 2005, Jessie headed for the airport.
We just dropped her off and said goodbye, and she looked at me like and silently screamed, "Don't let me go. I swear." And I just feel like I should have known, being her biggest sister. How did I not get it? And I miss her so much.
Back in Vegas, Jessie stayed in touch.
That's when I was planning my trip to Vegas, so like we talk all day long.
Then Jessie suddenly stopped calling. After several days, on April 9th, 2006, Jessie's mother filed a missing persons report. The police quickly followed up.
The supervisor that was on duty went to the home, spoke to the homeowner, which was at the time a man named Peter, questioned him about Jessie's whereabouts. He answered all the questions that were asked of him. He allowed a search of his home without a warrant.
Peter was never charged with any crime. Jessie Foster is officially considered a missing person. Jessie's mother has her own point of view.
Jessie did not choose to go missing. Jessie would not have left us and walked out of our lives.
The Fosters hired a private investigator to help search for Jessie. The family was stunned by what he discovered.
Jessie had been arrested for solicitation of prostitution. Now, my daughter Jessie has never been in trouble as a kid. She's never been brought home by the police. And just to think that my kid was arrested in another country for prostitution, and how scared she must have been.
Here we have a woman that was engaged in prostitution who comes up missing in another country from where she lives. And we did a lot. We have done more with this case over the last 3 years than possibly any other cold missing persons case, simply because there is so much there to indicate it's something other than she just didn't want to talk to her friends or mother anymore.
To date, Las Vegas police have no solid leads. After years of unanswered questions, the Foster family still maintains hope that Jessie is out there.
We're not going to stop. If I was ever going to stop, I never would have started. I will find Jessie, or I will die trying.
When we return, a Texas beauty, a night on the town in Manhattan, a haunting mystery.
She left the club with him and she was never seen again.
A beautiful Broadway hopeful, new to the Big Apple. An evening of clubbing that ends in mystery. Number 11 on the list, The Search for Laura Garza.
Laura Garza
Garza is one of those stories that sadly we hear over and over again. Young, beautiful girl leaves nightclub with good-looking guy and is never seen from again.
Laura Garza was raised in McAllen, Texas, a border town where a night on the town meant a few beers at the neighborhood bar.
One day she was on the internet and she told me, hey, I might go to New York. You're crazy. Where are you going to New York for? For what? I'm going to go just for 1 week for vacations. I'm going to see how is the life over there. She spent a week in New York and she liked it. She went back to Texas and started planning to move to New York because she wanted to try it out.
In July 2008, 25-year-old Laura moved into a cousin's waterfront apartment in Brooklyn and took a job in Midtown Manhattan.
She became an assistant manager for the Baker's shoe store. And for being here 6 months, she got a position as a manager. And she was so spunky and beautiful.
On December 2nd, Laura phoned her mother saying she was going out with friends.
They were just gonna go out like normal young ladies at her age, just to go out and have a great time.
Sometime that evening, Laura arrived at a club in the Chelsea district, known for its celebrity clientele. According to police records, Laura met a well-dressed man.
She met him there, and he was having a good time, and she was too. She was there with her girlfriend, a co-worker, who decided to just leave and told Lara, I'm gonna go home. And Lara decided to say, okay, you go, I'm gonna stay a little while longer. Her roommate realized that she didn't make it home. Her co-worker called the roommate and said, is Laura there? And she said no. So they put two and two together and said, something happened to Laura because she never made it to work.
Laura's friends waited and prayed. 2 days later, they reported Laura missing. The investigation led police back to the nightclub. According to court documents, the club cooperated with the investigation and turned over surveillance video from that night.
She's having a good time. She's surrounded by a lot of people. You know, everyone in there is dancing.
Including Laura and her new acquaintance.
People didn't know what happened to her, but were able to identify that this was someone she was seen laughing and having a great time with at the club, and last person she was known to be alive with. That she left the club with him and she was never seen again.
The man Laura met was a convicted sex offender. Police questioned the man and searched his apartment, but never charged him with any crime.
There is some other things that they found. The police, they won't tell us everything because they don't want to jeopardize the investigation.
With little to go on, police scoured the city looking for Laura.
Lucky for Laura Garza's family, the news media jumped on the story. And thank God for that. Otherwise, so many of these cases just go unnoticed. But at least Laura Garza's story got out there, and there were search parties, and people looked and people cared. Sadly, no one found anything.
A heavy snowfall just before Christmas 2008 stalled search efforts. The Garza family pressed on.
Sometimes we go out past flyers in stores. We put flyers on the windshields, on the train stops and all that. And we're waiting for the right call. I'm just waiting for the phone to ring.
Yo me siento destrozada.
I feel destroyed.
Porque
Because
esta persona se está escondiendo.
this person is hiding.
Y ya es mucho tiempo de no
It's
saber
too
de
long
mi
of not
hija.
knowing about my daughter.
Police have not charged anyone with Laura's disappearance, but the Garzas won't rest until they get answers.
Everybody knows about my sister, and we're looking for her. Yeah, everybody's looking for her and praying for her.
Coming up, a college freshman summer break comes to a sudden, chilling end.
The only thing they found of her was her cleaning supplies and her flip-flops.
A wholesome college student vanishes without a trace. A suspect thousands of miles away may unlock the mystery of our number 10 story, the disappearance of Brooke Wilberger. Brooke Wilberger grew up in the tiny town of Vanita, Oregon. The blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl played classical piano and was raised in a devout Mormon family.
Faith is a huge part of the Wilberger family.
Brooke was accepted to Brigham Young University in 2003.
She was living a normal college life, probably a lot more wholesome than many girls.
She was someone who loved her friends, loved her family. She was kind of that girl next door.
She could light up a room, make everybody laugh.
In May 2004, at the end of her freshman year, Brooke returned to Oregon. She planned to help her sister and brother-in-law maintain an apartment complex they managed in Corvallis. Sometime around 10 a.m. on May 23rd, Brooke arrived for work.
Her sister goes away for a very short period of time to drop the kids at school and returns, and poof, her sister has vanished with no sign of a struggle, no sign of anything untoward. In fact, it takes the sister a few minutes to figure out that anything unusual has happened.
The only thing they found of her was her cleaning supplies and her flip-flops.
We have somebody that this is completely out of character for. We're more and more convinced that this is indeed a kidnapping and an abduction.
Her family misses her.
A search began almost immediately. Many from the local Mormon community joined the effort.
We have hope and we think it'll be okay.
Within 1-2 days, you had hundreds of people going out, organizing into groups, and searching all these areas around Corvallis, Oregon.
Something terrible happened, and we have two choices. We can choose to be as positive as we can, or we can, let us become negative, and we've chosen not to do that.
The investigation dragged on for a year. During that time, police reached out to the public for help.
If anyone has seen Brooke at all, if they would just please call in.
Tips indicated people seeing a green minivan in Corvallis in the area the day she was abducted.
Police reports indicate that 2 different women in Corvallis, Oregon came forward with similar stories about a man driving a green van.
The first said that he drove up to her, asked for directions to the athletic office. The second female also reported that a green minivan had pulled up to her, asked her directions to a fraternity house. She said that he then got out of the driver's seat, opened a sliding door, and invited her to get inside.
Then in August of 2005, Oregon police got a lead. Authorities in New Mexico had a suspect in custody named Joel Courtney.
Detectives in New Mexico were investigating a case where a woman was abducted near the University of New Mexico. Joel Courtney was the main suspect in that case.
According to court documents, Joel Courtney was being held in New Mexico on charges of kidnapping and rape. The reason Oregon police were interested was that Courtney had moved to New Mexico from Oregon shortly after Brooke's disappearance. And police records allege he drove a green minivan while in the Corvallis area. Records also indicate that a witness in Oregon identified Courtney in a photo lineup.
They started comparing notes, and detectives in Corvallis realized, hey, we think this is our guy.
Authorities obtained a warrant to search Courtney's home in New Mexico.
They found things like duct tape, duffel bags that belonged to him, and different things that would have been used in an abduction.
Police also searched Courtney's minivan and reported an important find.
Once he became a prime suspect, they searched the green van and they found hair fibers.
In August of 2005, Joel Courtney was indicted for the kidnap, rape, and murder of Brooke Wilberger. He pleaded not guilty. On September 12, 2007, while awaiting extradition to Oregon, Courtney was convicted in the New Mexico rape case and sentenced to 18 years. Then, as a part of a deal in which prosecutors agreed not to seek the death penalty, Courtney changed his plea to guilty in the murder of Brooke Wilberger. Courtney admitted he kidnapped Brooke at knife point, raped and bludgeoned her to death, then dumped her body in Oregon's coastal mountains. 5 years after she vanished, Brooke's remains were found. Joel Courtney received life in prison without possibility of parole.
Nothing's going to be just, because nothing would bring Brooke back.
Up next, 2 teenagers suddenly go missing. The fate of one caught on tape. We have the shocking footage as police search for a predator.